Yeah, we should be. Yes.
You should be good.
Hello.
I need to head out early.
Cool. That's cool. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
So that should work. You should be able to play with it over here. Read blue jeans.
Oh yeah.
People.
Am I on? Can people see me?
Yeah, they'll see you through there. I'm pretty sure.
There's something. There's Todd. Yeah, we're in.
Hey,
Todd, can you hear us?
Should be able to see
Hey guys, yeah, I hear you fine.
Is he using this light?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We'll get started in a few minutes. We have a guest visiting from. Yeah, keep it up. Greg says the link you posted is wrong. Really? Hey guys, link manager posted in the form is bad. Way to go. I did. Hold on. We have a guest here who's awesome. Blow your mind. Yeah. Give us a sec. Where's the forum? Hold on. Did I really post the wrong link? No, I didn't. Is that why no one's on? No, that's the right link. Oh, invalid meeting link /42 is wrong. I think people would figure that out, right? I don't know. You put the wrong link, so. Do you want to make me feel worse? I mean, yes, kind of.
Hey, that's a good way to filter the unwanted, huh?
Yeah. There are no unwanteds.
The 42s are.
Todd.
Hello, Todd.
Hey.
I'm Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Notice how no one's sitting on my side?
Aww.
The smell factor. I smell fabulous. I'm gonna grab your charger. Yeah, I need it soon too. You need it too? Eventually. I'm at 90. You're at 90? What do you need it soon? Can't go below 85.
Todd, where are you calling from?
Sacramento, just about an hour away from you guys, hour and a half.
Oh, great. Are you working with SmartThings, or are you part of the extended family?
I'm part of. I'm your great uncle's second cousin's brother's dog's owner.
Wow. And here I am. I didn't even recognize you.
Yeah, so this meeting. This meeting happens every 2 weeks. It's all of our developers in the community that have built awesome stuff. We've only got 3 in the room right now, but we usually get a little bit more. I think I messed up with the link. But yeah, Gilbert's joining. Yeah, we kind of just I have a little agenda, and people can ask questions and all sorts of stuff. Cool. Yeah. We'll just wait maybe a few minutes until a few others join. Hey, Gilbert.
What's up, Major?
How's it going?
Gilbert.
Hey.
We got a few people in the room here.
Hey.
All right. Hey, Todd.
How you doing, bud?
Doing well. Doing well.
Anybody want a break?
No, I'm done.
On a headset for
Since these meetings have been running a little longer, I decided to make a industrial strength martini. So look, it's as big as my head, and I have a big head. Cheers.
Do accelerator guest. And then I think it's W, capital W, 1, F1.
Capital F or?
No, regular. Please. Just turn your video off.
PLZ?
PLEASE. Exclamation point.
Irvin!
Chan. Do it. Turn your video off. Your battery will last longer. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not making that up. All right. Fine. I mean, no one's here because you gave them all the wrong links. You kind of ruined it. So. If they start typing blue jeans, that's the first thing that comes up in the browser. Yeah. So Todd, especially. I guess who else is on the line? I wanted to see who's on the line.
Who's Zero? Oh, that's us.
Greg. Zero's probably us. Jimbo, just Jack, Todd. I guess we can start chatting. Yeah, so Ben, as you know, Ben is out. He's currently driving somewhere. Yeah, he's driving.
Actually, it looked like he stopped and had a beer.
Of course he did. Do you follow him on Untapped? Do you look at those Untapped chickens?
No, but I see his tweets.
Oh, I'm going to check his tweet. But yeah, I wanted to introduce Alessandro. He is from the Institute of the Future, which is an awesome organization headquartered in Palo Alto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about it.
So I'm Alex, and I work at the Institute for the Future, and it's basically a nonprofit think tank that's totally devoted to futures thinking. So it's anything from 5 to 10 to 100 years out. It's all to do with how can we help organizations and people imagine different kinds of futures than they're used to. So anything from tech to health to society, governance, learning, all kinds of stuff like that.
Awesome.
That's not the craziest shit you've ever heard.
Yeah, so we were hanging out with him for about an hour, and he posed some interesting questions that I thought like we'd love to keep him around. Maybe he can especially you, Todd, you are all about this new world of technology. So yeah, he has some awesome questions about how would you describe it? His first question is the first one I wrote down, which is what does the home mean to you? Elaborate on.
Yeah, totally. So I think the most important thing that IFTF does in relation to other things is it's not just about the technology, right? It's not about, even though it's awesome and you obviously always, it's interesting to start with, what's possible when it comes to technology, but how does it affect human life, especially as we see ourselves 10 years from now? And it's not just what's possible, but what do we want to see? What do we want to start moving toward? And how does it really change how we think about the world, how we interact with the world, how we make ourselves better as a society? How does that increase trust with each other? These kinds of bigger questions. So we start with what's going on today and what's interesting, and then build out to that bigger stuff. So I was posing to them, you can do almost anything with the home. You can do automation, you can do, allow people to have greater transparency as to what's going on in the home, but if you start with a fundamental question about, what in the future home means to people, when you come home, do you want security? Do you want safety? Do you want creativity? Do you want rest? Do you want things to be taken care of for you? Those sorts of very fundamental human things are going to evolve over the next 10 years, but in many cases, some of those things will be very similar to what we experience today. So just posing to all you guys, I guess, what does home mean to you? What do you think it will mean to people 10 years from now, and how will you develop to create something that helps people achieve that?
That sounds very, very poetic.
It's a pretty heady question, really, when you think about it. I mean, it's one of the things when I started with home automation, I kind of asked myself those kind of questions. And to me, the context or how I would answer it differs every day and differs throughout the day. What's important to me and how I want the house to react to me when I first get home from work is far different after I've had my industrial size martini.
Yeah.
It's far different as your day progresses. A lot of people are automating how they wake up using SmartThings. It turns on the lights and maybe the TV, and it turns it off when you go to work. But then on the weekend, that's, your routine is different. That's an easy way to explain the subtlety of context throughout the day. Big Alex says, the arc of the day. And that was one of the things the Big Alex. But the arc of the day that's a relevant statement because, or label if you want to call it that, because it's different. It's, and then somebody comes into the room, you're still in that room, but now you want it to act differently because that other person is there with you, or perhaps not react to you. So it's the context of answering that question that makes it hard to answer that question with any concrete statement. This is the way I'll create my app because, well, then you have a billion what ifs.
Yeah. I love what you said about, another person enters and all of a sudden it's a different set of rules.
Right.
How can that grow dynamically? I mean, you talk about, you have these issues of getting data, especially when it comes to social networks. I mean, people are very fearful at this point, but there's so many unique combinations of dynamics, of things that could, facilitate better interactions amongst people. Gilbert, next guy.
Sorry,
Gilbert, your voice has changed, but your breath smells the same.
But it changes the rules, right? And it's you have different hopes when you know that you have a job interview the next day. You may want, super upbeat music, whereas, I mean, maybe it's not even a weekend, but, how do you integrate data? I think, well, there's a bigger and side question of how do you integrate data in a responsible way, but also, use it assuming that you have that, like, how can you make it benefit people in what they want to see come from their home and allow them, I think, maybe some agency in defining what those rules are.
Yeah, without having to go in and define every single thing for one person, just kind of understand who they are by what they've connected.
Yeah.
And then act on that.
Crazy. You can imagine, like, when you walk somewhere, like, your phone has all this metadata about you. It knows your preferences. It knows what you want. And when you go to someone's house, like, their house reacts to you.
Yeah, like, you don't have to put what song you want to play in the morning. You don't have to put, I want upbeat tomorrow morning. It's just like, you have a meeting tomorrow. I know that. It's like, we'll play upbeat music. Or we give it a certain time.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things, you talked about going to somebody's house, but one of the things I'd really love is I go to a hotel room.
Yeah, we talked about this a while ago.
That would be awesome to walk into a hotel room, have your favorite channels there, your music's on there, the way you like the lights, the temperature of the room. I mean, that would be really cool, and to me would be readily attainable very quickly. But going to somebody else's house is a whole different thing. Are they going to allow you to create a context?
I think Todd, last time we talked about this, we were toying with the idea of you doing a rental car, and that rental car knows your seat adjustments, your radio settings, and all that stuff. That'd be a world that I think is not too far from us right now.
Yeah. Have my Uber driver show up exactly with the right temperature.
So 10 years out, though, I mean, what can change in a decade?
Yeah, you guys have the 10-year forecast, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have a shit ton of these. So it's all to do with things happening roughly 10 years, but I mean, it's anywhere from 5 to like 15 to maybe 20 years. But like 10 years out, will people expect portable user preferences? And the same thing, I know you guys you have a lot of momentum and you're moving up, but will every place that you visit have the same hardware specs? How can you ensure that you're, partnering with people in such a way that you can create these kinds of things that are portable, between different situations? Also, can a machine really be in tune with, hierarchies of, like, you go to your boss's house, you better not expect that, like, the whole lights are going to change and all of a sudden the disco ball comes out, right? Not only because that's your boss, but because it's not your place to change their environment. Like, what are the politics of changing another person's environment?
Wow.
Anyone? Bueller?
I don't talk about politics online, sorry.
Smart guy.
No, it is a good question. I struggle with, and perhaps all of us, as we're creating things, especially as a developer, we get it to where we want, we tweak on it, and a lot of the apps they turn into a Rube Goldberg, pull the string, light the candle, pop the balloon to get the light to go on. But we think that's really cool, and we'll do it 50 times just to see it. And the wife's sitting over there going, "What the heck?" All I want to do is walk over and turn the switch. And that was one of the things that I was real careful with, is while implementing the cool and the things that I wanted, I made sure there was a manual way for her to do exactly what she did yesterday. So that way it wasn't an uphill battle of, what I thought was valuable. I wasn't taking her current value away from her. And that's one of the things I think that Internet of Things will struggle with during any implementation, is to say, the moms or the grandmoms or whatever, well, I just wanted to turn to channel 3, and her VCR still blinking and all that. We have that same thing, is you have to not just take on the people that are implementing, but the other people that are what's the word I'm looking for? Receiving, whatever is going on around them. They're participating in the room or the context or whatever. So it's kind of like having to tie one foot down while you're moving forward with the other one.
Yeah, but it's inclusive, It's about how do you create an inclusive, connected home environment.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure it out.
I think everyone is. I don't even know if there was like one answer.
No. It's evolving like crazy. This is a very interesting discussion, and we can continue these questions in a little bit, but I would love to kind of start with our agenda that I posted. One of the things I wanted to talk about was smart apps. Like for us, Ben and myself and Chandler, who you can kind of see, have been working on the smart app approval process. So we have a couple handfuls of them in the queue, and we're working on getting them through building an approval process that works and is good. So I wanted to tell you guys about a few smart apps that are coming out. And then also want to find out if you guys have smart apps that you're waiting for us to approve, and we want to move them up the queue. Chandler has a spreadsheet with all the priorities, so we'll move them up. There's a blog post on our website about 5 new smart apps. I think we talked about these last time. Some of them are lock it at a specific time, so it's kind of like a smart lock. You can set your lock to turn on and off at a certain time. Smart light timer is very similar. You can use motion detector to turn on lights, and then it will. It's got a lot of features. Coffee after shower we were talking about uses a humidity sensor in your shower and turns on your coffee machine. That one's released. And then I'm going to skip those. And then coming out hopefully this week is called Smart Alarm. It's a multi-zone virtual alarm panel. So it's very in-depth. It's almost like a whole security system. It's pretty cool. We're still testing it. It's got a few kinks in it. And then we have a couple more coming out. One's called Goodnight House. So turn off selected lights with delay in seconds. Turn on selected lights. These can be selected to go back on after a time limit, and then lock selected doors. We were talking about one that getting through the process too called Door Knocker. So it uses a multi-sensor, and if the multi-sensor doesn't fully open but it gets active with a knock, it sends a text message or an SMS. Or a push. A push or an SMS.
Sends an email or an electronic mail.
So those are a few smart apps coming out.
Hey, does USPS have an integration where we could mail a letter? How awesome would that be? We should try that. Your door opened. Let's start sending that to random users, and they're like, what?
The longest push message ever.
Yeah.
Telegram.
We should try that. How cool would that be?
We can do it.
Your door's open.
We could do it. Sure, yeah.
Your garage is empty by now.
Yeah, so if there's any smart apps that you guys have built that you want to
you are being robbed,
push up the queue or anything, let us know. Shout out now, or just send us a note on the community site or email me.
Do you think people that come to office hours should get priority?
Yeah.
If they come here and they talk I submitted an app.
Yeah.
But
if I submitted an app and no one responded for a long time, I would be pissed and I'd be like, well, how can I get in touch with these people?
I mean, 100 ways. But
this
people
is the
show
most
up
important way.
and interact and
this
communicate.
Is basically in real life without being in real life.
This is pretty in real life.
I saw Gilbert's cat.
Yeah, Gilbert's cat.
So real.
Speaking of Gilbert, do you have any updates about the product stuff?
So I know that the engineering team right now is pretty much heads down working on our Cassandra migration, and that's taken pretty much the entire platform team to do. Just so that you guys know, we're mainly doing that to kind of help optimize things. Right now, we're spending a lot of money on server costs, so we're trying to figure out ways of making that a little bit more efficient, for lack of a better word. We're also doing a lot of planning for conferences that are coming out at the end of the year, SCC and CES. So we're really pretty much heads down on those 2 main paths. Ermin, do you have anything to add on top of that?
I mean, I can give. Do I have any updates?
Yeah.
Yeah, draw them out.
He loves the whiteboard. No.
I can't read that. Does that say yes?
So
We're working on the cool Samsung Developer Conference.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of Samsung stuff. No, this is awesome. It's a huge magnet. We have some really cool Samsung stuff we just got in. Like their huge appliances, like their washer,
Air conditioner.
their cool ass air conditioner that looks like a transformer. The fridge, some cool things like that. Those are the little robot vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been hacking away internally on Samsung appliances. So Ermin's having a lot of fun with that right now, aren't you, Ermin?
Totally. What else is in the pipeline? This weekend, I want to get to the TCP stuff.
That's what Todd just said in the chat.
Well, if Todd asked for it, then I'm not going to do it. The nice devices, NYCE. They're cool little micro sensors. Those are probably up soon. What else are we working on? SDC, Samsung Developer Conference. If you're in the city, if you're in San Francisco, I guess it's not the city for everyone. You should definitely check it out.
Yep.
The first day will be free and open to the public.
Will it?
We think so.
I don't know if that's true.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's not. I think that was toyed with. It's not our idea to make.
Oh, we're not sure about that then.
Yeah, we want to do that. But if it is, we'll definitely tell everyone.
Yeah.
We're building a house on the floor with a bunch of partner devices, showing everybody some stuff. I'm sure we'll have a ton of press around it. Oh, we should
You guys got the same house as last year?
No, this is a house we're building on the show floor in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
On the show.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about CES.
No, in CES we don't have the same house. We want a bigger one.
Yeah.
So, CES will be building a house on the floor for Samsung. We'll be getting our own house off the strip, shuttling people back and forth.
Are you going to get a zip line from the chimney?
Can everyone see that?
Sweet.
Looks way cooler in person.
Well,
Demiland.
we don't know if it does.
Well, that's what your job is, to make it awesome.
Yeah, it's being built in Canada. So I'm going to Canada 2 weeks to look at that. And they were going to ship it from Canada, which is crazy. This company, they just all they do is build
40 by 40?
40 by 40.
How are they going to ship that on a road?
This is the only thing they do as a company. They just build things for exhibitions and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
I know, it's awesome.
Well, that's the.
What else do we do? We're doing so much shit. I feel
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We go to a hackathon maybe once a month together. We were at MIT 2 weeks ago. Well, there was 3 hackathons.
Oh, we snuck into one.
The first hackathon we were actually part of, called IoT Hack Conference Hackathon. There was some cool stuff built there. There's probably 6 projects only though, so it was very small. There was another cool one called Hacking Arts, which was in the MIT Media Lab. And then the big hackathon, which we snuck into as mentors, was Hack MIT.
They told us we tried to sponsor last minute, and they told us no. Then we asked if we could just go see the demos and watch, and they said no.
Yeah, so they were like, we're definitely gonna be in.
So we
So Ermin's
definitely
like, don't tell me no.
Yeah. The guys, I was walking in, he's like, "Are you like a hacker? Where's your pass?" I was like, "Oh no, we're mentors.
Mentors, yeah.
We got this.
We got it."
And then we just walked in, and we just stayed in there.
Wow.
And then we stole mentor shirts. So just walked around with mentor shirts. It's actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Speaking of events, we're doing a hackathon in Minneapolis. If any of you guys are in Minneapolis this weekend, called IoT Hack Day. It's at Minitronics in St. Paul. In about 2 weeks, Ben and I will be in New York City. We're doing some mentoring for the RGA Accelerator. It's called the Connected Device Accelerator with Techstars. We're doing a meetup either at Etsy's office or at WeWork. So we'll keep you posted if you guys are in New York City. I know there's only 6 people on the call right now.
Well, this is the wrong link. My bad.
There's 11.
Did you edit the post? You should edit the post.
I can edit the post.
Should definitely.
November 8th and 9th, we have 2 events. They're both in the Bay Area. One's in Redwood City. It's for Toyota. It's a connected car hackathon. And then we're doing Code Day in Palo Alto and Austin, Texas. We'll be represented there. And then Ermin and I, he doesn't know yet, but he's going to Chicago with me November 20th to the 23rd. We're doing hackathon at Northwestern.
One of the north. How many could there possibly be?
And we're gonna try to do the IoT meetup there too the night before. Those are kind of all the events coming up. Yeah, and if there's any events you guys see, or there's like a hackathon you see that you want us to come to, let us know. So we're starting something called the SmartThings Ambassador Program, which I kicked off yesterday officially. Ambassadors are like community members that want to go to hackathons or want to go to events and represent us. We've got 2 guys fresh out of college that are helping us out now.
Wait, they're out of college?
One guy's
Should they be like in college?
One guy's in college, one guy's out of college. But yeah, we'll be posting more about it like as we learn about it and as it gets better. But just keep it in mind if there's events in your community locally that you guys want to go to, we'd love to have you represent us or hand out swag and go to hackathons. It's a lot of fun.
All these guys are gonna keep the swag.
No, we got their phone numbers.
So what are they gonna do? Let's give a fake number.
I know. They do it.
So Greg in the chat asked about the Utilitech siren.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Any
That one
updates
should
on that?
work. That one should work already. We may have some fingerprinting things that we need to do, but I don't know. Ermin, have you ever tried that one?
Yeah.
The one,
It's
the Lowe's
same as
one?
Same as it.
We have that, right?
Same as the Everspring siren.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same thing.
That's good. Probably push that out as a beta or something. We need to like do a beta thing for non-certified devices.
Just to get them out there.
Isn't that
Yeah.
what Labs was?
Yeah, but labs you can't put a device in labs. You can't put like a Z switch in labs.
Yeah.
We should do that for sure.
Ooh,
Yeah, he said,
Herman just got
Herman said he was
slammed.
releasing an update 2 to 3 months ago.
Greg, you can probably pair that one up as a Z-Wave siren, and use it already. There may be already a siren in the IDE if you want to start using that even without Ermin making any changes. So you guys may have already seen it on the community forums, but tomorrow we're going to have a schedule outage on our push notifications. I just want to give you guys all a heads up on that. That one is going to be from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. PST. It's outside of our environment, actually. It's Urban Airship is doing an update that is closing down for the 4 hours, and we don't have another backup in the meantime. So it's going to be down for that time frame. We try to do a last-minute ditch effort of doing native push notifications on Android and iOS, but we couldn't get it out in time. So make sure that if you guys have any alerts that you want to do, make sure you set them up on SMS. So SMS will continue to work, but just push notification itself won't. So if you're out on vacation for that time period, just make sure you set up SMS so that you get your front door notification if someone breaches your house.
Gilbert, do you have any updates on like Android improvements that Patrick mentioned?
I know that the last time there was a significant improvement on presence. I don't know if Patrick noticed anything recently, but in terms of support has noticed a huge increase or a huge improvement on presence notification on Android, or presence on Android.
Yeah, presence seems to be a little bit more reliable. I only had one instance of the home and away reboot issue, but I think somebody else mentioned last time that it may be a accuracy of GPS when it's coming online too kind of issue.
Yeah, well that's a whole lot better than 100% down to that. I know you were having issues with every time you
100% before. So 166 seems to have fixed that.
Great, I'm happy to hear that. That was, and anything besides that, I think a lot of the improvements have been parity items, making it closer aligned to iOS.
Yeah. Any word on why Android, or at least on a Nexus 5, why image persistence doesn't work in the cameras?
Oh, that's implementation. We haven't gotten around to getting to that yet.
Okay, so anybody who says it does work on Android is just confused.
I know that there are some improvements there isn't quite 100% parity between iOS and Android in terms of the camera. I don't have an I don't have an Android.
You sure you're not using an iPhone, Greg? Okay.
You guys are brutal.
I think you guys may be talking about other things. I think iOS, I know that you can actually open up the image and you can actually make the image full screen, and I don't know if Android allows or Android has that feature yet. So yeah, there are some additional parity items that we need to do on that end. But expect before the end of the year also improvements on better camera support as well too. So that's one of the things that we'll be working on in the coming months. That's in-app. We're gonna have an extension of the motion module into motions and cameras.
Okay.
We have a question on the GE link bulb reliability. Speak to us about that. We've been trying to target and see what's going on with the GE link bulbs, and what I'm hearing, or what Ermin actually done some research on it, is that there are some reliability issues with the bulb, the hardware itself. And Ermin's trying hard to figure out what exactly it is and see if there are things that we can do on our firmware to make it a little bit more reliable. It's a little bit hard to reproduce.
Yeah, what are some of the things we're hearing the same complaints from people who buy the Wink Hub, that it just stops responding. It's on their review site, and people are complaining about it all the time. It just goes dead, goes dark.
It's the first version of it too.
I mean, it's 15.
Yeah.
Taryn, what are you seeing on there? Get off that mute and share.
I managed to get it to pair without a problem, but it does absolutely nothing. It just looks pretty.
It should do more than look pretty. We probably need to get you on the latest Ember firmware.
Yeah.
I had my firmware upgrade too.
You had your firmware upgrade already?
Yeah, the problem is it stops working. So
if I would email support again, and you can have them let them know that you were on the call and you're already on the latest version, and we'll see what we can do to kind of get you up and running. But it should work. I have that bulb right there is GE Link. You can't see it, but
yeah, I've actually never had a problem with any of mine either. But Tyler Hall has, people have reported they just stop responding to anything.
Yeah. I actually had for the first time.
So hot. They get so hot.
Not respond.
They do.
They get so hot. It's crazy hot how good they get.
The Link?
Yeah.
Last 3 days.
They're LEDs too. Crazy. Scary.
Did you try licking them?
My G worked pretty good.
Okay. He's already licked that one too.
I've done it.
Cool.
Works well.
Yeah, I guess we've kind of given our updates. One thing I forgot to mention is that we want to really update our developer website and our IDE. Even just teaching developers what a smart app is, or just showing why you would want to build a smart app. There's a guy named Brad who has started a month and a half ago or so in Minneapolis. I'm gonna meet with him on Friday. We're gonna try to he's an awesome designer, awesome developer. He's already made one pass at the developer site in the IDE. So we're gonna try to make it a lot better and simpler to use.
Oh, there's actually Bob's not here right now, but he's working on getting you guys better messaging as your smart apps and your device types are being submitted.
Yeah, fix logging.
Logging?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be heaven.
You're talking about something separate.
I think the biggest problem was logging in the simulator. He said that he found the problem and fixed it.
Yeah. That these guys can praise that. The other thing that he was working on recently was a Jira integration. So Jira is what we use for our bug tracking. And as we go through QA and as we kind of test out the different smart apps and device types, it will update the submission. So hopefully we get to a point where it notifies you every time we move a ticket from being submitted to being accepted, and you guys know where they are in the process. Because I know that a lot of times Todd may submit something, we'll sit on it for some time, and we'll just twirl our fingers and not tell them what we're doing. So.
Well, I always assume it's really hard work.
Oh yes. If it. But yeah, you'll get better notifications, and hopefully we'll put better processes in place so that we get through some of these submissions a lot quicker. I know that you guys have been waiting for some time on some of these submissions.
Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for the people that are developing and submitting. You got the rest of the user community banging on us, going, "When's it being released? When's it coming out?" You know, it's like the TCP. You know, that Ermin's finally going to work on, or somebody.
Oh yeah.
We had to buy it. We didn't have any here.
I can bring some, Ermin. I have a bunch.
You have it? Why don't you test it?
I'll bring it to you tomorrow.
Now that we have a kit already, go bring it.
What's that?
Now that we already bought a kit, you offered to bring it.
Oh, I didn't know you bought a kit.
Yeah, we did buy some kit. We had to buy a kit and some bulbs.
Okay, I pulled out all my TCPs to put in link bulbs, so I have a bunch of them just laying around.
They'll help heat your house up.
I should maybe do a giveaway.
Those GE link bulbs, you won't need your heater this winter.
Yeah. The price on the TCP stuff went up a lot, and you can't get them. They don't sell in the stores anymore.
Oh really?
Home Depot has them still.
They're not stocking them anymore.
Oh really?
They were $49. Now they're $77 for the startup kit.
Wow.
Yeah, and
they've been at 70 cents for a while now.
It says online only now.
Yeah. Well, they did come out with the BR30s and 38s.
Yeah, but I think eventually, TCP is in trouble with a lot of the link bulbs and other LED bulbs coming out without requiring a hub.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think they'll adapt.
You think they're going to go Zigbee based?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll go Thread or something.
Interesting. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was that the marketing team is working on a device compatibility list. So as we have, what was that?
That's going to look really pretty. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's going to be a non-Google spreadsheet that is hidden in our community forum somewhere in the weeds.
For a second there, I thought you were saying that marketing is actually going to come up with the device compatibility list.
They're gonna be designing the front end interface and actually implementing so that you can do a search across all the devices that we have and see what's compatible and what's not compatible.
Cool.
I know right now, currently we have it in a Google spreadsheet that's hidden in the community forums, and it's not easy for people to know what is compatible and what works with us. And we'll also try to highlight what devices have been certified, where they are, whether or not they're community submitted, so that users have a greater insight of or greater confidence when they buy something off the shelf.
That's awesome. Any other updates?
Can I make a suggestion along those lines?
Yeah, of course.
You know how Amazon kind of has their star rating?
Yeah.
On, how about putting like on compatibility? There's certain nuances in different people's houses or their setup that maybe you can allow users to give feedback on that compatibility, whether it works, in a large house, a small house, or with other devices.
Yeah, we were thinking about some type of star rating to go along with it,
exactly.
and also like how many tiers it is, whether or not it's something that is a partner device that we worked with them heavily on, whether or not they're just a Z-Wave device that pairs properly, and where that kind of falls. So there are definitely different compatibility levels that we need to be able to surface to our users.
If you guys don't have any more questions or anything, we love to keep chatting with Alessandro. If you guys haven't met him, he is from the Institute of the Future, which is the most futuristic organization in Palo Alto, probably the world.
Most likely the world. Probably the closest worlds too, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Is it the near future or the distant future?
And really, Alex hasn't been born yet. He's going to be born in about 45 years. He's coming back.
I'm a hologram. So I was mentioning this earlier. So So we're a nonprofit. We're right around the corner from these guys, and we're all devoted to long-term thinking, anywhere from 10 to 100 years out. A lot to do with the new affordances that technology, that new social practices, that new economic models have on allowing us to do the things that we really want to do, and achieve things that we previously have not been able to achieve. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What's awesome is how we met him.
Oh yeah.
Like most SmartThings stories, it started at a bar.
Yep.
We were talking to the bartender about just like cool shit. Like, oh yeah, so if you could do anything in your smart home, what would you do? Like within your home, what would you do? What would you make smart? Just so happens that his friends.
Yeah, he texts
like get over, come over.
But anyway, so I started off like early on saying, what does home mean to you? So this idea, like, people look for different things from a home. They look for security. They look for, time for family and for bonding. All these sorts of things. And it's important not just to think of, what's possible today. What's possible technologically that is fun to do, but also, what are the things that allow people to express themselves and do things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do, that they've been trying to do but haven't been able to. So that's what we kind of opened up with. But another thing is, a lot of it you probably heard. I mean, I think all of us have heard of the Facebook social experiment, where they basically altered people's feeds. About 50,000 people, had filtered their feeds and made it so that only negative posts or positive posts had come in. And these people had basically their views of the world change. So, they received different kinds of information and as a result posted differently. And so it's this question, I don't know, this was another question that we posted, like, who owns your filters? And like, are people aware of the way in which their options or the media that they consume are changed? So what I was posing is, if we provide certain affordances for people to change their lives using these smart things, right? So if people have certain recipes for how they expect to interact with their home, how are we limiting their ability to express the way that they want to use their home? Or, how are we guiding that towards something that may not necessarily be in their best interest? Or how can we enable them to do something that is in their best interest? How can we nudge them toward better behaviors? So just kind of opening up the conversation to sort of like, how do we match what we can do technologically, which is incredible right now. I'm totally blown away by what you guys are already talking about, and what people want, or the way that people want to interact with these systems.
I think the phrase that everyone throws around is solving problems that don't exist, but that argument has been used throughout history for things like the remote control, the engine, getting up to do something, the light switch, the electricity.
First world problems.
Yeah, I mean, they start as first world problems, but they exceed to making third world or first world.
Absolutely.
Electricity wasn't high enough. That's a first world problem back, when it was first invented. But now electricity is just such a global thing that should be a right to everyone. Same with like right to clean water, things like that.
Take it for granted, right?
Yeah, you take stuff you take for granted that you assume are first world problems. You flesh out all the first world problems so it becomes so, done and part of your life that they can now easily be transferred to other people. So,
let me ask maybe a more pointed question. Like, 10 years out from now, how do you imagine changing people's lives and how they interact with their home?
We just go one by one.
Yeah. If you guys are interested.
It's
This is like a hard question. It's like drop on someone.
Yeah.
Well, I think realistically, to answer that question, you just apply Moore's law and think about how your house was 20 years ago, and think of the changes that occurred in the last 20 years will most likely occur.
X10.
So, how is going home? I mean, certainly in the last 20 years, internet non-existent, essentially in the home 20 years ago. Personal computer, flat screen TVs, all of those types of things. I think the biggest change to me is going to be the way that we're going to interact with computers. I think the computer line, you guys are sitting in front of laptops sitting there. I think that disappears. I think, whether it's wearable or integratable, computing power, you guys are sitting behind a whiteboard that frankly in 10 years is going to be probably a surface for computing, as well as input and output. I think that's probably one of the biggest changes that we're going to see is the miniaturization. You look at what Android Wear or what Apple's going to come out with a watch. That kind of horsepower in tiny little elements are going to be cool, but also what you can do with an entire wall. I think, wallpaper from a design standpoint has completely disappeared, in houses. I mean, find a modern house today that's on the market for sale that has wallpaper in it. But I think as everything designs, it goes full circle. I think we're going to see technologies in which, you're going to have either e-paper or some sort of electronic display that will turn your entire wall into a display, whether it's through projection or, literally through OLED type technologies.
What does that say? I'm sorry. What does that say about how people view their homes? So does that mean that people do you think that in the future, in 10 years, people will want the home to be a creative space? Something in which maybe they reimagine the space as a different thing, as that's their productive area?
It makes them feel at home, though, right? That's what home is.
I think the home is going to get a lot smaller. As densities increase, as populations move back towards urban, and as we go vertical rather than horizontal, I think everything will revolve around trying to make the home feel bigger. And that think about a glass wall today. It's just a glass wall, but if that can actually display a vista from a mountain, have a live real-time feed, I think these things are very practical within the next 10 to 15 years. The biggest challenge I see in the home from 10 years from now is the drain on power. So the biggest challenges and the biggest limitations holding us back are our optimizations of power usage. We're seeing major drains on resources that I'm not sure if we're going to see the advances, at the consumer level that I think we all want.
What Patrick just said, I don't know that the both things he said, I don't know that I agree with the first thing. I guess I live in Northern Virginia, and it seems like people are trying to build as big as possible and as little land as possible. And I mean, density is definitely something that people are working on, but I don't see people wanting smaller space anytime soon. I know a lot of people that have been moving further away from the city and driving an hour and a half in because they want their 2,500, 3,000 square feet homes and they can't afford them. And I think as technology progresses, driverless cars are going to make it more acceptable to decentralize. They'll make it easier to decentralize. So I still think you're going to have these large homes and their needs as far as the power grid go. I agree with you. You're going to have more automation. You're going to have bigger, you're going to have more technology in greater spaces at higher volumes than I think we have now. And I think we're still going to be held back, but I don't think the smaller density is something that's coming, is going to be something we'll see, not smaller density, smaller size homes in the next 15, 20 years.
I mean, it could be a good mix of both, like it is now.
Right.
You live in the city, you have a smaller place. You live outside the city, you have a bigger place.
But what percentage of us are moving towards cities in the next 10 years? Is it
quite a bit?
Yeah.
It's extreme.
Or are the cities moving?
But I would rather be in her shoes moving away from the city.
And the commute being easier.
I have like an hour and a half commute to the city. I live in a 475 square foot apartment. I can't tell you how much it costs, but like
with someone else and a dog.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know, how is it gonna change? Like you do a lot of city stuff, like urban stuff.
So we did a whole.
Remember the guys we met at MIT? They're changing the space to adapt to what you're doing. So the space is 500 square feet or 400 square feet.
Can you show that video on here?
We should.
So,
can I do that?
So, like, what if spaces like homes, are adaptable based on what people want to do at a given point in time? What if it's different information, different lighting setting and other things in order to support what they want to do at that given point in time? Then you got to question how does the machine or how does the system know that?
Yeah, I think the reality is you look at what big data is learning about us. With my Android phone now pops up an alert and tells me that traffic is bad, so you probably need to leave about 15 minutes early to get home at 5 o'clock. Why? Because I'm always home at 5 o'clock. So now it's already made that decision for me based upon my patterns. But realistically, I should probably be leaving work at 5 o'clock. So the question is who starts to determine those types of heuristics, and algorithms about us? Nest is kind of the first foray into kind of learning how you set your thermostat, but everybody adapted to it by pulling out an app and just setting it, so I think right now we're in the mode of, hey, we're used to a mouse and keyboard. We like the inputs of what we know. And so this natural evolution of how we adapt, to me, a smart home of the future essentially says when I go into my house and I turn on a light, it should learn that I turned on that light. But the biggest step is it's got to know it's me. It's fine if you're a single person living in one apartment, but in a family of 4 or 5, how do you determine between me and my wife? That's fine at a geofence, but if that geofence is a room, it's got to know that I'm in it.
One of the things we were talking about earlier, Patrick, is not only is it you, but when other people join you, the differences in that room. So you might have set that geofence off, but the subtleness of, well, you don't want the party music to come on because your kids are with you. It's all the different context of you.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to teach
or how
it.
about I get home and I turn on the pool and I turn on the music and I want to turn it up, but the neighbors are home. I might only go to level 8 when the neighbors are home, but when nobody's home on each side of me, I'll go to level 10 and not have to worry. It's that subtleness of the context of you and your environment when the environment's a little bit different.
I speaking of what Todd just said, I think it's the subtleness is a key element there, and I think it's a matter of where the technology stands at the time. Right now, we're looking at it's deep machine learning, and it's AI, it's pure straight technological AI, and as things change and we progress ideally in building neural networks, it'll go from recognizing patterns to understanding the subtleties in our own behavior. It'll be able to understand, ideally, this is what I read. I don't work with neural networks, so the outcome, but it'll be able to understand our emotions and anticipate, how we'll behave and what we might be feeling, because it might hopefully not sympathize, but you know what I'm saying. It'll understand at a greater level than the technology we have now.
What's scary right now is both my bed and my watch know my heart rate.
Yeah, you have one of those.
Sleep IQ numbers. Yeah, the sleep number bed with the sleep IQ. It knows my breathing rate and it knows my heart rate. And it also knows if I'm resting.
Is that bad though?
But heart rate, is a unique identifier. It's a fingerprint. And if any of you have seen Microsoft's demonstration on Connect and what it can do to recognize individuals based upon their heart rate and their visual patterns, we're not that far off from using a camera or thermal to detect a unique individual at the household level. Take that motion sensor today.
Massive.
Yeah, take a motion sensor today and turn it into a person recognizer. And
I've got a chip implanted in my shoulder already. I'm good.
Yeah, but it's just to identify the part.
Just give me a wand when I'm at the vet. You'll know where I belong.
You belong to here. If lost, call this number. But those are the things that I think will take us to the next thing. To the next level is that learning home. The thing that scares me about the learning home is all of the subtleties. But right now we're kind of in the infancy stage. We got to teach these things to walk and crawl and all this type of stuff. I'm really worried about the teenager phase. That's going to be really awkward.
Why?
You been a teenager before, or are you still not out of that?
These days, teenagers are scary.
Yeah,
I'm playing
scary. What happens when my house wants to hack the neighbor's house?
Yeah. His heart rate went up because he's watching something on TV at a teenager stage. Yeah, okay.
But
what happens when a car drives by and the house finds it attractive? Those are the things that scare me.
So it's interesting. So we did I'm not wearing this shirt. I think the back of my shirt says "Keep the Future Weird," but this was the shirt that we got from this report that you just read, the Age of Networked Matter. But we're looking at these weird things that come about when our machines start to act oddly like humans, and they have inconsistencies and they have weird tendencies. So interesting that you noted, I think that it'll be weird for a teenager. I think it's important as we start to create these sorts of things, not to think of these as like what's an efficient system, but who are we designing for and what are their hopes? What are their, the feelings that they have, that they're considerations of family and these sorts of things and those nuances. And the other thing is, there's a company around here called Palantir that basically owns Palo Alto. I mean, they have like so many freaking
smartest engineers, probably smarter than Google collectively.
crazy.
Yeah, they're Palantir.
They're ridiculous.
Next level.
Basically, what it is, if you guys don't know Palantir, I mean, it's basically data visualization, and it's like this very smart network of cleaning up data to make it into graphs that can be dynamically you can create links between them and use human intuition to say that's terrorism, that is fraud. Because what they found is that these algorithms that were trying to determine that, like people would create a rule and then people would just break it. They would do a different thing and all of a sudden the machine couldn't figure it out. So an interesting thing to note when you're creating these systems as well is what's the best of human intuition and what's the best of machine intuition, and how can you marry those at a middle level to really create the kinds of effects that you want? At what point do you give up human agency and leave that to machine learning? And at what point do you figure out that machine learning just can't get the nuance? And what are those critical intervention points where humans really define, this is how I want to live, and this is how my machine should interact?
We're a long way from that. I mean, it's like
that's insane shit.
I know. So I need to smoke pot to get into this conversation.
Yes.
But I think what you're talking about is difficult to grasp. But again, I think that the tipping point becomes, like you say, the machine and the human intervention. It's like having a conversation with somebody that you can see, and then the difference of your interpretation of that same conversation, if it's just over the phone, the way that you react is going to be different because of the different sense inputs. So think of a machine trying to interact like the house when it can see you versus when it can't see you. There's going to be a subtle difference. When we get to the point where the machine can detect and make up for that space that's between the seeing and the not seeing of that conversation, I mean, to me, that's kind of heady is what you're talking about, the terrorists of data or whatever. It's to me where a developer hits the wall, because you can't think of every what if. You're going to say, all right, what's the best for the 90%? Yeah. I'm going to go to that, I'm going to hit that, and then see what happens. Because, I mean, I watch the developers here on our community when they release something, as a community share. Everybody starts hammering, well, my sensor doesn't work with that. Well, my light doesn't come on. Or, and their little subtle difference in their setup just hammers that developer, and he's sitting there. Now he's writing all the what if into his code for the next 20 days, and he feels like he didn't.
He's good, or he just goes, oh, screw it, I'm never,
the problem also discourages people, right? Yeah. They build this app, they just want to share it. All of a sudden, it's just like, well, I want my door to open 5 minutes after, not 2 minutes.
Right. Well, that's what's frustrating as a developer, because you glean this product and you let it out and you're proud of it, and then you spend all this time taking the critique on it, and it's a tough situation when, especially as we've been talking.
Imagine that being your everyday life.
We're not getting paid for it.
Yeah,
hardly your wage.
It's interesting, but I mean, so that how do you enable people to take what you have created and either make it work for their particular situation, take that onto themselves, reach out to a smaller community or something like that of people with who have the same goals or something like that. Like even, hey, we're all in the security, thing, and we're trying to take what this developer came out with and apply it to the things that matter to us. Like what if there were, groups of people that all felt the same and that wanted to apply that technology? Maybe they're coders, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just people who collectively want to make a decision as to the kinds of things that they want to submit as a need. Like better interfaces between human desire and the kinds of things that you guys end up developing, and how those things morph into different situations, I think would be really cool.
I think so too. And we do our best to allow users to share things. We have GitHub coming soon. Share code, but the problem is like not everyone's a developer, so they can't take exactly what a developer wrote and tweak the code for themselves. And then the other answer is that should they have to? Yeah. Should there be a whole new app submitted to change how many switches come on?
It'd be cool to build, instead of a smart app, just like, Me and Chandler saw like 4 or 5 smart apps last week that did the same thing basically.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to have like just more of like variables. I don't even know what the platform is, but like we need to build like a repository of things to do. You call them recipes a lot, and I like that. That's IFT. But like I like that term. Like it's a recipe. We have all these ingredients. Let's build something. All of us have our own ingredients, but like we want to cook something different. It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's not baking, it's cooking,
Yeah.
Some people are going to be like, oh, let me throw in some more delays or something like that, and play with it. If I may.
Yeah, and I'm at 6,000. I'm at 6,000 feet sea level with a wood burning stove. How's that recipe work for me?
Yeah. Well, that's a good. How does that recipe work for me? Should be like the constant question, like you should be asking. But I was also mentioning Burning Man and how much fun I had, and it was really cool. And the idea that
Burning Man, you weren't at Burning Man.
I know. Well, I was shit faced, but the idea that people
he saw the future.
People start with nothing, and then within a week develop an entire city built around individual dreams of new kinds of interactions. So one of the things I will prompt as my earlier question, which I think is much broader and is a more useful frame, but a smaller, more granular frame is, assuming that home for people means creativity or means a place to, unwind and think about new things, what are the new ways that we can kind of build above and beyond what a traditional idea of a home is and allow people this idea to creatively develop their home, like more fun ways that people can interact with their environment.
So Pong on a wall.
I mean, it could be trivial. I mean, I think the trivial is really fun, but allowing people agency and defining the small nuances in a home that not only feel comfortable to them, but also take them out of their element or challenge people to do new things, or experience new kinds of social interactions. Like, how can you allow people to engineer the kinds of social interactions they want to see? Let's say they have their friends over and they're tired of how their normal conversations go. So let's say every 10 minutes a strobe light goes off or something. How can you engineer and allow people to have fun and interesting ways to engage rather than just things that are routine or that remind them of what a home normally does?
Yeah, I think that's like what we were talking about. Why do we need wall switches? Why do we need thermostats? Why do we need to touch anything? Why do we need to interact with a switch? Or another we're talking about that I didn't mention it earlier was just like your wall. You draw a switch and that will turn on whatever the hell you want to. You can draw a rule and that's a smart app. You can draw a switch, you can draw a light bulb and that will turn on a light bulb.
But why does it have to look like a light bulb?
Look like
you draw like an art piece, and for somebody that means this is what I view as light or something like that.
Be here all night.
I draw a martini and it appears. Oh yes, thank you.
What's a drink? Your drink maker makes it.
What does the martini mean though? I mean, the martini means relaxation. It means call all my friends. It means my door is unlocked. Because I know I expect company. It means change the lights. It means party time. It means turn on the TV. It means all these other things. So if you did draw a martini, it might be a whole new set of recipes that automatically get brought into it.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what my heart rate was. I might just want to be alone with my martini. I'd have to go on Patrick's bed and find out, but
you're not all welcome in my bed, Todd. Okay. My wife would object. So, no, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's just. I mean, it's crazy to dream this stuff up. I think I'll just share this real quick. About 4 years ago, I sat on a print committee that some of the best minds in the printing industry presented their 10-year vision. They spent 45 minutes talking about where the future was going in print, and they were all positive. They spent millions of dollars researching it. I asked one simple question. I said, the iPad just came out. What do you anticipate in your research, the disruptive technologies and the impact to that 10-year plan? He stopped. He went, we didn't. And I think that is the reality is there are so many disruptive forces that will completely destroy economic factors and create new ones. And I think what we're talking about here will completely obliterate certain industries and create new ones. And those are the kinds of destructive but yet creative forces that are at play here. And the same way as if you think about 30 years ago, the top 5 software companies. Anybody? What are going to be the top software companies in 15 years? Those are the challenges. Microsoft, Google, these guys didn't exist 20 years ago. In the top names of it, name the top spreadsheet program in 1985. Doesn't matter. Those are the things that are just absolutely crazy when you start to think about how construction will change. Just alone in that, when you look at some of the nanotube and carbon fiber type creation, these spiders that can just basically produce carbon, fiber behind itself and create bridges out of nothing. That means hundreds and hundreds of construction workers out of jobs, and yet we can build things almost immediately. So the world's going to change very quickly and very rapidly when it comes to expansion, but it's not going to be driven by people anymore.
So I beg to differ, and I'll leave you with this note. I think that you all, as well as all the people who use your products, are making the future every single day. You're making those decisions, and 10 years out, if you consider that, you do have a lot of agency over that, especially you guys. I mean, you're at the forefront of a really, really incredible technology, and I would just have you consider, what are the new ways that people can express themselves differently? What are the new possibilities? What are the things that we need to keep in track of in terms of those nuances that will make people feel uncomfortable or make people feel empowered, and how you can all do that. So I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with, and always here to be a resource if you want to connect.
Yeah, man, you're always welcome to join us anytime.
Way more than that.
Yeah.
Keep coming. So.
Cool. But yeah, thank you guys. That was
yeah.
awesome.
All right. So it's.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Alex,
thanks for coming.
Let us know when you're going to be back so we can get high first and kind of get to your level.
We'll make him smoke too.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll try to do it in the next month or so. We'll have you back over.
For the lawyers, we're just kidding. Just kidding, lawyers. Just kidding.
So if I were like an atom on my thumb, I would mean like, wow.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. Stay in the community with us, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
I can't wait to get a text message from the lawyers. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you guys.
Peace.
Take care.
Hey, Gilbert.
What's up?
Hey, when are we going to get back on that Mima Light stuff, dude?
We should. Hang on, let me check my calendar right now.
All right.
Hang on.
I got a call with Dan tomorrow. We're going to do go over the FOSCAM stuff.
Oh, sweet. When are you guys having that? What time?
Noon. We're going to do a Google Hangout.
Okay. I am available Friday if you want to chat Friday.
Okay.
Anytime after 1:30, I'm okay.
Okay.
Just
So
send me.
do you work into the evening, or are you pretty much a fiver, or what?
Well, so I start my day at 8. So I have the daily scrum at 8, and then I usually leave the office around 5-ish, and then I work throughout the evening when I get home. But when I work on evenings, it's usually kind of catch-up time.
Yeah.
So I don't usually.
That's best for me. I got a day job, so.
Yeah. You want to chat on my way back to the city?
Okay. Or you read the train?
I drive, but I can take a call in my car. So.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in San Francisco, and we're in Palo Alto, so I have like a good hour drive to and from the office.
That's brutal on Friday evenings. Definitely.
Yeah. So I can use
that peninsula, man, just funnels you in on those two highways, 101 or 280.
Yes. So feel free to keep me company on the drive back home. You have my number, so give me a call, say 4:30, and I should be able to take it.
Yeah, I kind of noticed I'm not getting any feedback since it released, but it wasn't announced either, so I don't know. The Mima Lite released a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago.
I should pick one up and play with it myself to really understand, to play with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'll pick one up. Okay.
Yeah, do that. If you order it today, you'll have it by Friday.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Again, this one's hardwired to have the hardwired contact to it. And I set up the settings for it that way.
I wonder what I
But,
can use
I
it
mean,
for
look,
outside of the context of a garage door.
there's a lot. If you read the manuals online on there, because like I told you before, it's a voltage
Yeah, I know.
sensor.
I'm thinking about like what real, like I know I understand the capabilities, but like
Yeah.
if I were to translate that into real world experience, what do my house is pretty well connected already. I'm trying to figure out like what more can I add to it.
Next thing I'm going to go put it on my doorbell transformer. You know, I've already got 16 volts on the doorbell transformer, so I'm going to sense when somebody presses my doorbell.
What are you gonna do? Play Sonos, or what are you gonna do?
Whatever you want. I mean, just send an event after that. But
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that it's you know, it could pick it up so that way you can choose. Again, like you and I were talking before, how can you choose to configure the device once it's sensed? We want to make that dynamic for the user.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm using this Mimo light that you found out when I was pairing it. Here's the use I want it. It's a garage door controller with a sensor or a contactor. Here's one without. Here's a doorbell. Here's a, you know, Mimo Light does 10 different things that maybe other users can help add to it. But it's the context of it that right now you just sense what it is, and we don't want people going to the IDE and retyping things.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there may be. I almost feel like there should be some type of link within the mobile app to give you a better description or better understanding of how it works. Because I think if someone were to buy it off the shelf and try to pair it, they're not going to really understand what they want to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm looking at. All right, if you're just got your hub last week and you ordered this Mimo Light, how do we lead the user to get to the place they want with it? And that's one of the things that I have not really worked with that much is all the dynamic pages. And especially like if you're installing a device. Yeah, I can figure out pages in apps, no problem. But what about in a device? I don't even know what the capabilities are for the user interface on device installation and how you go and interact there. I've never had the conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
one of the things I need to learn.
All right, so let's chat on Friday, and then so you can get me caught up on FOSCAM. What Dan talks to you tomorrow. We'll talk about Mimo Light, and then anything else that you may be working on, or interesting projects that you may want to take on.
Did I get your email address, Gilbert?
Gilbert at SmartThings. I'm the only one.
All right. I am gonna subject.
I'll send you a meeting reminder. How about that?
Yeah, do that. That's what I was just going into. Not on the right setup here on this computer right now.
Done.
All right, you're the man. All right, Gilbert, have a good evening, bud.
All right, good night, man.
All right, bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody else. You're chatting me on HipChat when you're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, but I think the motion was the more important one. If the contact one is just as easy, might as well take care of it as well too. The contact is less.
So the thing is this. So the delay. Do you want the delay? Let's say we are currently having two messages. We have.
Wait, hang on. Yeah, let's jump off this one since this isn't a public room, and then I'll send you my personal blue jeans, and then you can talk
we
to me
can
on that one.
do HipChat.
Let's do blue jeans. It's easy.
Not HipChat.
All right.